Money is what life is all about. Getting it, losing it, needing it, living it, and dying for it. That's what the American dream is about.
This is a story that's been played out in the Bronx for years.
I wanted to play a gangster the way I saw them growing up. It's got a real insider perspective.
These diamonds, they're huge. What does this boyfriend of yours do?
He's in business.
A lot of people gonna be able to relate to it because it's an everyday thing that goes on.
It's this white guy, the hottest cat on Wall Street.
God, I didn't know you were gonna bring it to me all in cash.
I did my part, now you do your part.
Sure thing.
It had corporate side, it had the urban side, and it was like two worlds collide.
You know what your mistake is? You think you're too smart.
Why don't you go back to your ghetto?
I gotta go to war, man.
Hey guys, welcome to my empire. This is Frank Reyes, writer-director of the movie Empire.
This guy's from the streets. He knows what has happened in the streets. He's been there.
This is the South Bronx, and we're gonna show you a little tour, a small tour of the neighborhood. This is a store that I worked at when I was 13 years old. I worked in this store. And I chose it because of that. You know, it's sort of become sort of a photo album of areas where I grew up. This is the opening shot of the film. This is where John is standing in front of Loco John, a store named after John Leguizamo. People would just walk by him and totally recognize who he was, so it was difficult to shoot because every once in a while you had people turning around and with their mouths open, like gaping, that's John.
My name is Victor Rosa. I'm young, Latin, and good-looking. And I call it like I see it, baby, because one thing about me, I'm going to tell you what I think, whether you want to hear it or not.
Vic is this really smart, ambitious, you know, like A-type personality who wants everything. But he grew up in the South Bronx, and that means you can't have everything. You can only have certain things. He wants to have all of that he sees on TV. So he goes the only route that he knows, and that's gangsterhood.
I'm a businessman, an entrepreneur like Rockefeller and Carnegie. And in my time, a geek like Bill Gates. That's right. They all did it themselves, fought the odds, and made a fortune. So why can't I?
So he's running his drug business in the form of the American dream, you know, like a real entrepreneur. Me and my sister, we're the Colombian drug dealers. And we traffic the drugs to him and a couple of other guys that are in war with each other.
The meat of it belongs to me. Exorcist got some decent spots. And Negros is below that, around Buckner Boulevard. Sevilla's got spots next to mine. As you can see, sometimes they tend to slip and overlap into my spot. And when that happens, you got trouble.
John walks down this area here. The Victor Rosa character, John Leguizamo, and pummels Jose, one of Fat Joe's boys.
Tito's like this drug lord. He runs a certain part of town.
You gotta go straight to the leader and take him down hard. Yeah, what? You do that and it's over.
He's trying to muscle into my territory, because he's big, and he think he can, you know, he can muscle me and finesse it that way, but it ain't happening.
We get it on.
I think Empire's trying to make a move.
You saying Vic did this to you?
This black door here is actually the front of Fat Joe's hideout. I remember one particular moment where we were walking toward Fat Joe's hideout, and all the guys had guns on them, and they were walking toward the door, and a police car came down. I was hoping the cops didn't think that we were real gangsters with guns, and that got scary there for a minute.
You think because we hang out with Jack and Trish every now and then, they're our friends? We ain't got no friends, Victor.
Carmen is a strong Latina woman from the South Bronx. She goes to college in New York, and she's going out with his drug dealer boyfriend. At a certain point in the film, Carmen gets pregnant, and she encourages John to sort of legitimize his money.
The big turning point for Vic is that he's about to have a baby. But then when he sees random killings of innocent people, which is a hazard of the trade that he's in, then he just kind of sees the senselessness of it all. It all starts to click in.
What do you do?
Well, obviously, whatever it is that I do, I'm not doing enough of. That's for damn sure.
You can be a part of this, too.
I got this investment opportunity, and I can make enough money to get out of there now.
Get out of what, man?
It's very difficult for a drug dealer to spend their money because it's not money that they can claim that they have. I sort of promised him a way of investing it and making it legitimate.
So the question you got to ask yourself is, how much are you willing to invest?
This is the first gangster film where a gangster realizes halfway through the movie that he's got to get out. They always realize it too late at the end. And he wants to get out, and he wants to make a change.
Victor's sort of getting involved with something he doesn't really know anything about. But the most important thing is not to lose that edge, his street smarts.
I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't know what I was doing.
I think you can handle anything. I've always said that. I mean, we're talking about a Wall Street guy. If you're gonna do this, go in knowing that he's not smarter than you. You hear me?
He just lures me into this world and then takes me.
The cellular number you have called is no longer in service. There is no further information.
I'm looking for Jack Wimmer.
There's no one in this building by that name, sir.
Son of a bitch.
Here we are. These are all the people who make this movie possible. This is Frank Reyes.
John was one of those people when people would say, John Leguizamo should play Victor Rosa, I would go like, please, he will never do it. I never considered him because I thought I could never get to him.
John Leguizamo's a legend, you know what I'm saying? Whatever he does, he's the best at it.
I read it and I was like, wow, this rocks, man. Whoever wrote this was hanging out with these type of people. Me and Jimmy, we got into this together when we were just kids out there, and we worked our way from lookouts. It's my crew, but I honestly couldn't do it without Jimmy. Vince Teresca, he's a great actor, and he's got sort of, he plays this duplicitous character who's sort of my best friend, but we separate at philosophies.
He's the guy who's he's loyal to a fault, and he's a guy who has really no sense of right from wrong.
Tito, that's Tito's boy, man. If anyone's gonna pay, it's gonna be Tito. We hit them tonight.
Jimmy, we can't do that, man.
I kind of based him on a person that was very dear to me.
Chet is a monster, yo. Not because of his size, but because he's all heart, baby. Blackest mother I know.
Tretch, that's my man, Trigger Tretch. He's a legend.
My character, man, I'm a monster up in there.
Cheddar has the world's biggest stereo system in the world's puniest apartment.
I'm the only black guy in the Puerto Rican gang, but that's how it is in the hoods around here in New York and Jersey. When times is hard and brothers do argue and I get in the middle like, yo, this is a family. We not gonna ruin this. A family that stays together get paid together.
Let me tell you, Jimmy, I'm not gonna give y'all the little diaper buddy, knee-high little speech over here. Y'all know this. We all we got, understand?
I mean, they see that he really cares about that infrastructure there and want to make sure nothing gets in between that or separates that or destroys that.
Tretch just has a great personality on screen, man. He's just got animal magnetism. He's got it all, Jay. Well, Jay is a special case. He's what you call simple. An idiot savant. Sometimes more idiot than savant. Raphael Baez created this character that was sort of a little bit mentally challenged. Just a slow one in the crew.
I thought he brought great power to that. Role.
You feel that family vibe, like we all grew up together and actually knew each other from the Bronx and since, knee-high days.
Came up knee-high with this here, man. It's family. You see this here, man? All this right here is family. You understand? We still family.
Delilah, just Delilah. She's not going to have a last name. She's going to be like Cher and Madonna. Delilah. She plays Carmen in the movie.
Carmen is a character who I grew up with, Carmen is my friends. Carmen are members of my family. Carmen, even has a little bit of me in her.
She represents sort of the up-and-coming, upperly mobile Latin woman who happened to get hooked up with this guy who was a gangster. Girls love the outlaw. Come on.
She may not have necessarily known that he was a drug dealer at first, but I think that at the point in which she found out, she wasn't going to walk away because she knew that she was with this incredible person who had more in store for him.
Hey, how you doing? I missed you. I know, baby, I know.
I used to be a messenger, and this is the place I used to stop a lot with a bagel and orange juice and just sit down and take a break, It turned out to be an interesting spot. It's a scene where the Denise Richards character and the Delilah Cotto character are walking across Washington Square Park, and back here you see a shot of the World Trade Center, and it's sort of eerie to come back and just look at it and know that the trades aren't there anymore. I chose not to take them out because they stood strong and powerful at the time, and I just want to keep it that way. I don't think we should forget.
But my boyfriend, he's having a party tonight. Why don't you and Vic come by?
Yeah, You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's all his friends, and I'd love to have someone to talk to.
I placed Peter's girlfriend, and he's conservative, very clean cut, and my character is crazy. And I think she has a different personality with every person that she's with.
I just felt like she gave a lot of dimension to this character that could have been really thin. Especially, and she looks so hot in Afro puffs. I mean, that's her look. I mean, you got to keep that, Denise. Keep those Afro puffs. Bring them back. White girls in Afro puffs are hot.
I'm an investment banker. That's what this is. This is like a business party for me. I represent like half those people down there. I want to represent the other half, so I let them kind of impress each other. You know.
This will work for you. Peter Sarsgaard playing Jack, he plays a different role he's ever played. He plays this really, you know, Wall Street financier, you know, sophisticated, rich, little preppy, yuppie, conniving little, you know, this guy.
People knew him from Boys Don't Cry, so he had long hair. And I said, Pete, come on, man, you got to cut the hair. He was unrecognizable, you know, on the set. He showed up, clean cut, the Armani suit. He was unbelievable.
I think what interested me about my character was to have, like, an arc, a through line that was all about trying to get money and how vacuous that is, the kind of despair that could be under that.
Growing up in the South Bronx, you know, regardless of how hardcore the moments are, most of the time it's just sort of sitting with your friends and cracking up about things and laughing and joking around and sort of, you know, that's what most of the days are like, you know, and then you have these terrible moments.
Tito sells his Severe. We all sell the same product, just mix it differently, put our own labels on it. I cut mine the least because I believe in purity. Tito, though, cuts it as deep as he can and gets more packets pronounced that way, but I get loyal buyers. People know Empire and they look for it, but dumbass Tito can't even begin to understand how that works.
Most actors, most of us, to be in movies, you got to get rid of a lot of your personality, like the way you talk. Like I used to not talk like this. This is very well developed after all these years, because you know I used to talk just like this. What's up, yo? We both gonna be hanging out. Yo, what's up with that? You know. And I had to work to, you know, get a little more sophisticated. But rappers can be themselves.
Crossing over into film feels like a normal progression for recording artists nowadays.
They bring like an authenticity and a real street credibility that you gotta have if you're doing a picture that's about a neighborhood that's in the South Bronx and Joe's from the South Bronx.
Why are you staring at me? Did I do something?
Why you gotta do something for me to stare at you, man? You know I love you, man.
I know.
That was like a special moment in the movie where I got to show the tender side of Fat Joe, you know what I mean? Or rather, Tito.
Fat Joe, that's my partner.
He brings that incredible reality, and he's an amazing actor at the same time.
Thank you, baby.
We all get our supply from the same connect, La Colombiana, Joanna Menendez.
Anytime you get somebody like Isabella Rossellini in your film, it's just amazing. Every day, you know, it's amazing.
Isabella Rossellini just makes it really, really exciting. Yeah, we've been working together how long now? 10 years? Something like that? And made you like, what, $5-6 million a year, maybe a little bit more?
Serrano, you know, he just has such power. You know, one of my favorite lines in the film is when he's standing there with the cigarette, he goes, get dressed. Just the way he says get dressed, I think it's so cool. Get dressed. I rewind it a lot. Get dressed. Get dressed. Get dressed. Get dressed.
To have this cast supporting, I mean, it just elevates your work, elevates your game. And so I had to rise to these great talents.
This is my first feature. I had some powerful actors with me.
And one thing with Frank and everybody, man, John, Fat Joe, I mean, everybody made it like a family vibe up there.
The first day of shooting, when the car is driving me over the Willis Avenue Bridge into my old neighborhood, and seeing all these vans and lights, you know, I was like, whoa, here we go. And actually, this is my old neighborhood. This is the 3rd Avenue Bridge right here. Willis Avenue Bridge over there. That's Bruckner Boulevard. This is my old neighborhood here, man. This neighborhood was always cinematic for me. Music is everything in this film. In this neighborhood, you hear music in the background, you know, coming out of record stores and cars, and that's the way I heard music growing up.
This film was definitely based out of the Bronx, home of hip-hop.
Frank was a huge, big music star in the 80s. I mean, he did some Sensation. There's a part where I'm not saying to do it justice, but he wrote 4 songs for the movie.
When I grew up, on one side of the street, I was listening to Tito Puente and Celia Cruz, and then right next to it, there's, you know, Marvin Gaye and Run DMC.
Urban culture is always influenced by music. Music plays a big part.
I grew up on hip-hop. It's the physical and musical language of this generation. You can't do it without it.
The new king of New York, you know what I mean? New king of New York, Empire, baby.
We're back with Mobb Deep. Empire, soundtrack, Motown Records, Empire.
John Leguizamo, Fat Joe. It's the Spanish version of Nino Brown, New Jack City, baby.
You know what I mean?
Nothing but excitement. For real, man.
This is what it's about, you know what I mean? Letting the world know, letting people know how hot it is.
I was learning George Washington, Valley Forges. I majored in Calderon, the Tito's, and Boy George's, and niggas.
The soundtrack is bananas, you heard? The Gladys in it, we repping to the fullest.
Leaning up a rich, young kid, mad bricks, 5-inch knots, poor Chrissy on the cops, and on my knit sweaters smell like Izzy Miat, Reeboks and no socks, Susan Warren's tank tops.
Music is every celebration is like you hug, you kiss, you eat for 30 minutes, and then everybody picks up the table, lifts up the rug, and it's dancing till the sun comes up.
Tomorrow you go to Bolton's and you ask for weaves, and I'm gonna hook you up with a PlayStation and 3 games, all right?
Thanks, Vic. Come on.
They asked, well, the John Leguizamo character, you wrote that character like a real person. The people that do this stuff in the neighborhood are real people. It's just a question of how we're dealing with them. But these are real people, and this is the way I chose to write it.
I had friends who were gangsters who I idolized in a way, even though I don't condone that kind of life. They would sort of took care of me, so I had some respect for them, And he caught that sort of ambivalent feeling you have towards the gangsters in your neighborhood, that you kind of look up to them. They're kind of cool. They are charming. They're always like so much more human than you see in the movies. And yet, you don't want to be doing what they do.
Always think like it's just the crimes of hustling and scandals and everything that goes on just in the streets and the hoods, but it's all in corporate America as well.
He's a businessman, Trish. If he were born in the suburbs, he'd be running like a Fortune 500 company. He's born in the Bronx, he does what he does.
Victors happen in a lot of neighborhoods across America because it is a socioeconomic problem. People are dirt poor, and people who are ambitious and smart and want more know they're not going to get it by going the regular path. And it is a choice of sorts.
Yo. In the end, these are human beings committing crimes, right or wrong. People that I know that have lost their lives in that situation were people that were friends of mine. And, when I was over the casket, tears came down my eyes. So these are people that I liked. These are decisions that they've made, and they have to deal with the consequences. And that's what this film's about.
I did mad research before we started the flick, and I did runs, and I went and, I saw them bag the stuff, how they label it. We went to the houses where they store the money, just like the movie, everything detailed to that. And we took some elements from that, and I did the whole research. And the guys who were talking to me was telling me how you have to be careful all the time. And they're always talking about getting out, how they're going to get out. When they get the certain amount, when they get the $1 million, they'll get out. When they get the $1.5 million, they'll get out. And most of them never get out. I was scared. You know why I was scared? Because they were scared. If they hadn't been scared, I would have been so cool. But if the gangsters you're doing runs with are scared, then you better be scared.
From the streets of the BX borough, growing up in the Bronx is tough. Rough neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? This is all we got.
As a kid, I used to spend a lot of time here. There were some really rough times, I guess the tranquility of the water used to sort of calm me down, but there were some real hard times. I used to stand here and watch boats go, in and out, and some real interesting times up here, man.
If I ask you something, promise not to tell my mom?
Nah, man, I don't make no promise. Just tell me what it is. Come on, cough it up.
My mom don't like me asking anyone for anything.
The lucky thing for me is that I had really strict hands-on parents, and they just, they wouldn't allow that. I mean, the first few times I got arrested, my parents shipped me out of here, took me out of America and shipped me back to the old country. And I had to live there, you know, without all my gang, my peeps, all that. I had nothing, you know, I was all by myself, but I had to straighten up in a really tight maximum security school. But it made a big difference.
Whether the opportunities are there for people to get out of this neighborhood, I don't know. Ultimately, if you want to get out of a rut, then you make it your business to get out of a rut, you know, and get out of the situation, you know. But it's not easy. With me, I just sort of capitalized on the breaks I was looking for. But it's not the same for all of us, you know. It just isn't.
I hate when I'm seeing a movie and then you see something happen that could never happen in real life and you be like, oh, they just messed up the movie. But this movie is real.
There's betrayal, there's love, there's anger.
There's a lot of deception, there's a lot of greed, there's a lot of seduction.
It's still a straight up shoot 'em up gangster flick, but it's a little deeper, it's a little more complex.
Everybody could pick up something from it. It could be somebody who never been to the ghetto a day in your life. And you see this movie and you'll be like, wow, this is a hot movie.
This is the kind of stuff that when I was a teenager, I would have ran to, like, you know, 40, 50 times to watch.
It ain't just what you see on the news, the after effect. You see the brewing of it. You see what makes it happen, what gives you the urge to hustle, what gives you the urge to change.
It's the end. Goodbye.
Moviendo fichas sin saber en mi barrio y Los Ángeles también vas entrando en mi juego y cuando estés en el suelo